tricks, helpful tricks?
Well, these are basically what is needed to apply for the visa, which we have discussed already. These are the forms, the DS-156, which is a non-immigrant visa application, and this is a supplemental non-immigrant visa application. Then we have, which, as I said, that is optional. If you're engaging the services of an attorney to get this entire task done, then you have to use this. It's more or less akin to what we have in India called the power of attorney. We are giving the somebody else the power to execute the task which you are supposed to do. So,
what was this one you said?
Yeah.
The passport photos. Go ahead.
It's not the same passport size. It's a huge file.
Tell about it.
It's 50 by 50
centimeters?
Yeah.
Okay.
Five
So is that different? I mean, in U.S. this is a passport photo. So I think perhaps that's different for Indian passport. Forgive me. Yeah, that's the same criteria for U.S. passport.
So maybe in India they are very specific in mentioning the dynamics of the
Yes.
Well, other things, what is needed as far as this visa is concerned, the invitation letter which we discussed already, and a letter from your employer. It should also state like for how many years you've been working in this organization and what is your salary and what's the work that you're doing here and what is it that you're being sent there for. So those details have to be very clear. Certificate of educational documents, which could be transcripts, course lists, diplomas, certificates, all those things. And then passport valid for more than 6 months. Whichever visa it is, your passport has to be valid at the time of application for at least 6 months. So when you are processing cases in your organization, be it B, L or H, you have to only move it forward only if the passport is not expiring in the next 6 months. Okay, that is one thing which is very important. Then recent paycheck stubs. Dependent also must show proof of relationship. If there are dependents accompanying the beneficiary, there has to be adequate proof of relationship. It could be a spouse, it could be children, or it could be parents, whatever. There has to be adequate relationship proof to convince the people that yes, you are related to a person, beneficiary is related to so and so person. Then we have preparing for the interview. As we one is preparation, that is scheduling the interview, logging on to the respective websites, and then seeking an appointment for the interview. And then what is the next step? What is the next step?
Prepare the employee to return.
Prepare the employee to face the interview. Okay? Yes. Yes.
In the list of documents, I think the bank statement for the last 6 months is important.
For your company or for the individual?
Individual.
That's one that can be helpful. I don't know, does everybody do that here?
It's not a mandatory document.
I think what you'll find is there's a variety of ways, and this could be a helpful forum, like Raj Kumar was saying, for people to share ideas like this, where that could be a helpful document to show the individual is not going to become, hungry in the United States, to give further evidence that they are well salaried and that they have reserves sufficient to take care of themselves if something comes up and maybe, they need to eat for a week or, pay rent or whatever they're doing in the U.S. for 6 months. It might show their ability to take care of themselves. So there's lots of ideas, but there is no mandatory list of documents required other than, I think, only a few of the invitation letter is really the only one that's required. These other ones are mainly for, and a passport. These are mainly the requireds, and then others could just be for your own situation, specific cases, or things that you do as a general practice, a good practice measure that you take. So that's a good one. I kind of, we use those sometimes. I advise people that may help. Particularly with smaller companies too, you provide more documents. you will see that we have provided in the materials here an exhaustive list of items that may be provided to show that the individual is not going to become a hardship case in the United States where they can cover their own expenses and document that they will not have the immigrant intent and so forth.
So for each of the visas which we are going to discuss today, be it B, H or L, there's an exhaustive document list which we have prepared, and then it is there in the coursework. You can use that. Right. Then at the visa interview, the applicant should expect to explain what is it. You have current pay, job duties, what is it that you do, how much is it that you draw, and then your experience, education, what is the relationship between your employer and the US company where you're being sent to. Whoever is attending the interview, the beneficiary, should be convincing enough to explain to the person there that yes, this is what the relationship is between our company and the company in the US, and this is what I'm going for. So he should not fumble out of that. He or she should not fumble out of that. Okay. Proposed activities. What is it that you intend once you go there? What is your agenda for the next 1 or 2 months? And then dates of stay in the US, provisions that will be made for support while in the US. How is it that you're going to support yourself? Like who's going to support your stay there in the US? So these are the details which you have to furnish to the consulate office. Yeah.
Oh, I was just going to, I wanted to add something there. I have a list of questions that I've made that we could go over later, but it looks like we may not have enough time. Common questions from the embassy, things that you may have already, but I would like to provide anybody with that list that wants it, and so if you would like, I'll email it to you or something. You give me your card and I'll do that. But these are the things that really trick a person up when the individual goes to that interview and they don't know what to say, they can't explain something about their employer, they don't really know why they're going to the US in the first place. Things that can get a little bit tricky. This is where it happens a lot of times, where they'll get denied and things go wrong. So documentation is important, but that preparation to help that person know. They might be asked something about, you know, how will your company take care of you? Well, I never really thought of it. You know, do they have insurance for me? What happens if I get hurt over there? You know, give these people the information so that when they are asked, or if they're asked, and 99% of the time they'll never be asked. But for that 5 to 1% of the time, you want to have the people equipped, because nobody likes to be embarrassed. You know, when they go to their superior, their supervisor, to say, well, this guy got denied. Why? Well, he wasn't ready for his visa interview. Whose fault is that? That might just be your fault, right? You could blame the lawyer maybe, and sometimes I get blamed for these things, but you know, it's everything. Everyone here is doing a lot of this kind of work, so you may be wanting to prepare these people.
This is again continuing with the interview. So the applicant should be ready to being questioned in the following areas. One is plans to apply for change of status to H-1B while in the US.
These would be the time bombs. These would be the landmines, right? When the visa officer asks, what about changing status? What are you going to do? Is he going to change status to H-1B or become a student or do something else over there? Look for a job? No, right? You get the idea.
Then there can be tricky questions to make you come out with an answer whether you intend to stay there for more than 6 months. Right? Plans to stay in the US longer than 6 months, intend to immigrate to the US. So they can ask roundabout questions to get an answer for this, and then we have
yeah, if they've ever been sponsored for a green card before by an employer or maybe even a family member, that could be another landmine. You know, that could blow up on a person. So that's something you could ask that individual ahead of time. Have you ever been sponsored for a green card at any time by anybody? Have you ever had an H-1B? This would be important information to know before you sponsor or you try to get B-1 visa.